Was that the sword that seals the darkness?
When you look back at the library of video games that came out for the Nintendo Switch, it's not a hyperbole to say that many of these titles ended up becoming generational hits. Games like Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Animal Crossing New Horizons are all games that helped shape core memories for millions of players around the world. But when talking about the best games from the Nintendo Switch, many will go to one of two games. The first being The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. As a launch flagship title of the Nintendo Switch, Breath of the Wild showcased how gamers could take fun, explorative AAA titles with them on whatever adventures, wherever they went. But the second, and the topic of this video, is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If Breath of the Wild was Star Wars A New Hope, then Tears of the Kingdom was The Empire Strikes Back. Taking what made the original so great and turning it up to 11, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom became a game that showcased why Nintendo is so unique and revered among the gaming industry. Hi, my name is Jay, and these are the Gaming Essentials. Even though Tears of the Kingdom is a relatively recent game compared to others on this list, I wanted to include it because I think it's the best game of the Nintendo Switch generation. Both Tears of the Kingdom and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild revitalized Nintendo as a company. But Tears of the Kingdom built on the foundations of Breath of the Wild and created something that exceeded the expectations of even many Zelda fans. There's no doubting the influence and impact of Breath of the Wild, but I think Tears of the Kingdom is actually the better game of the two. Why? Even though Tears of the Kingdom reuses some of the same elements, like certain locations, weapons, visual designs, and system mechanics, each one of these aspects is improved upon exponentially. The world is much more denser, with more activities, locations to explore, and people to interact with. Combat is improved with newer combinations of weapons and items players can tinker with, and people can come up with new inventions and vehicles to explore the world, almost like putting together Legos. Not to mention that the game is even more cinematic, with more voice acting, intricate cutscenes, and a larger, more overarching story that is worthy of being dubbed a legend. No matter if you've already put in hundreds of hours into this game, or will be experiencing it for the first time, join me as I talk about why The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the best game of the Nintendo Switch. Something I really love about Tears of the Kingdom is how the game toys with the audience's past knowledge and experience from past Zelda games. For those who have played Breath of the Wild and some other past titles in this franchise, there are many familiar elements that have returned, but have been tweaked just a bit so as to throw you off or to cause you to rethink situations entirely. Going back to locations previously explored in Breath of the Wild is eerie and haunting, as cities and villages have turned into abandoned ghost towns. Character staples like Zelda and Ganondorf are still here, but their powers and backstories are altered, with Zelda gaining more powers over time, and Ganondorf looking even more like a beast. If you've never played a Zelda game before, you can still partake in this adventure with no issues, but for longtime Zelda fans, they'll be rewarded as their knowledge and understanding of this universe will be expanded upon, with a new take and interpretation befitting of this series. And that's one of the best parts about this game. Stories and cinematics aren't the meat and core of The Legend of Zelda, but this game makes a good case for why it should be. When Link and Zelda ventured deep under Hyrule Castle, the two discovered the mummy of the evil incarnate Ganondorf. After inadvertently waking him, Zelda is mysteriously transported back in time to the far-flung past, Hyrule Castle and other landmarks are hauled into the sky, and Link suffers injuries that require a new arm with special powers to be transplanted onto him.
That door will open only to those with sufficient power. I'm sorry. I did not intend to startle you. It was I that spoke to you earlier. That arm originally belonged to me. I am Raru.
What makes this story so great is its characters. Even though Link suffered such a traumatic event, it's up to him to continue to remain stoic and uncover what happened to the world around him and how to bring Zelda back. And for Zelda, she has to learn to make sacrifices and how to make decisions that will save the future she might never see again. But for me, it's the side characters that are really special to me in this game. Breath of the Wild introduced plenty of memorable side characters, like Prince Sidon and Lady Riju, who helped Link free guardian spirits that would help him take down Ganon. But in Tears of the Kingdom, these young warriors have to step up and face these evils themselves. But they're still young kids. These young leaders are still learning the ropes, trying to understand what they are and aren't capable of, and face trepidation over whether or not they really can be strong enough for their clans. They have fears and insecurities like anyone else of that age, but can't let that get in the way of their responsibility to save Hyrule. Link has always been, to some degree, a static character, but it's the characters around him that change and overcome, learning to take on their fears as warriors, and are the ones who grow as individuals. Seeing these characters grow from children to young adults, taking on greater heroic qualities, are what makes for true fist-pumping moments. And they're all propped up by some extraordinary visual cinematics and strong vocal performances. Switching over to the gameplay and combat, and this is yet another area where Tears of the Kingdom is unlike any other. Breath of the Wild before it really put an emphasis on exploration and a sense of adventure. It was the game where you could venture out into any region you could see, and you'd be rewarded for going there. You'd discover a small Korok hidden under a large boulder, caves with treasure chests in them, or maybe a new character who'd be willing to provide you with a new quest or information. Tears of the Kingdom practically quadruples down on this by providing even more activities, tasks, missions, and enemies on the surface, in the air, and in the grounds beneath. It's so easy to set out on an expedition, hoping to complete this one task, only to be distracted by this other cool location, a friend who needs help putting up a sign, or by a Korok stuck on the side of the road, needing to reach their friend. I'll gladly help you out, buddy, but get ready, because you're going to be in for one wild ride. But what separates all this from other games is that the game never tells the player anything. It's up to them to find and discover all these elements all on their own. It's never a checklist of things to accomplish, but an exploration of finding new things to do. Combat itself has also been expanded greatly upon thanks to the new mechanics, Fuse, and Ultra Hand. In Tears of the Kingdom, all the weapons have been weakened or decayed thanks to the events happening in the world. So players have to be creative and fuse weapons together in order to really thrive in combat. Fuse helps to add a new, creative, almost puzzle-solving-like element to combat. When facing tougher enemies, players have to find creative combinations that help them overcome their opponents. Ultra Hand can be likened to this as well. Players can meld different structures and machinery, called Zonai devices, together to help them in combat and exploration. What makes this so special is that these creations and devices all work as you'd expect them to in your head. Oftentimes, there are limits to what you can and can't do in video games. But with Tears of the Kingdom, if you can build it and if it works within the confines of real-world physics, it's highly likely the game will be able to handle it. Can you make a speedboat to cross a lake using a few logs and some fans? Absolutely. Can you make an actual airplane that can take off on a flat runway? Sure thing. What about a makeshift X-Wing that blasts lasers from the sky? Weird, but you totally can. And that's not even touching upon all the other amazing elements, like the floating islands in the sky, the dark, infinitely explorable caverns in the depths, the jaw-dropping boss battles, or the wondrously reserved musical score that always finds a way to kick it up a notch at the right moment. While some gamers may try and detract from this game, whether it be for its unstable frame rates, its somewhat simplistic visuals, or how it reuses some assets from Breath of the Wild, doing so would ignore the literal thousands of hours of hard work and artistry it took to make this game. And so much of it may go completely unnoticed, as players could easily fly or gallop over these locations, environments, and characters, never ever encountering them. But again, that's part of the wonder of this game. It's a game that puts you and your experience first. One could literally put in hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours into this game and still not uncover all the secrets it has to offer. But that's the magic of it. Come into this game with a bucket and you'll receive a bucket full of water. Come into it with a bathtub and you'll receive a bathtub's worth of joy and wonder. The curiosity and sense of adventure you bring into it will always be rewarded with more and more memories that will travel with you through time. As the Nintendo Switch era comes to a close, it's important to look back at the transformative experience that the original Switch offered for gamers and how it also reinvigorated Nintendo. When a game can turn you into George Lucas, looking at a screen, making you ask yourself,
How? How good is that?
You know it's a good game. Especially when you know the limitations of the Nintendo Switch hardware, it's hard not to ask yourself this, and awe at the level of creativity and engineering required to make this. Whether you be diving from the sky islands down to the depths underneath, building a ridiculous contraption using Ultra Hand, or participating in the thousands of activities, you can't help but marvel at how all of this could be put into a single game. And with the Nintendo Switch 2, it's the perfect time to jump back into it or play it for the first time, as The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, reshaped Zelda, and Nintendo's claim as being a true champion of creativity in gaming, which is why The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom is a gaming essential.